welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going way beyond just, basic Googling and really diving into digital information literacy, or DIL.
DIL.
DIL, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you might be thinking, DIL, isn't that just for, the tech people?
Yeah.
But honestly, it's so much more than knowing, how to use a computer these days.
Right. It's like the, I don't know, it's like the toolkit you need to really navigate the digital world that we're all in.
Yeah.
Where, information's coming at us like a tsunami, and knowing how to swim just isn't enough.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this.
Okay.
What exactly is digital information literacy?
So one of the sources that we were looking at defined it as finding, selecting, using, and sharing information. But it's with the help of all the digital tools and platforms that we have now.
So it sounds pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
but I have a feeling like there's a lot more to it
Oh, for sure.
than meets the eye.
Yeah, it's really about empowering you to become like a discerning digital citizen.
Yeah.
You're not just finding information, but you're really understanding it and then using it to make, those informed decisions that we all want to make.
So it's almost like being a digital detective, right?
Yes.
It's like you're sifting through these clues
Yeah.
to uncover the truth.
Yes, recognizing all the biases that are out there, figuring out what is, misinformation, and just, using all this information in a responsible way.
Well, speaking of misinformation, one of the things that I was reading about is that misinformation spreads online at pandemic speeds,
Oh, yeah.
that's kind of a scary thought, right?
It is. It's really scary, especially, and I think that's why DIL is so crucial, is because it gives you the tools to sort through it all.
Separate fact from fiction.
Exactly.
And it's really hard these days.
Yeah.
So let's talk about misinformation and disinformation.
Okay.
What's the difference between the two?
So misinformation, think of it as you're sharing an article, but you don't realize that it's out of date. Or maybe it's just false information. Disinformation is a little different. This is where the intention is to mislead or deceive.
Okay, so disinformation is it's like the wolf in sheep's clothing, right?
Yes.
It's disguised as this legit information.
It is.
But there's a hidden agenda.
Exactly. And it can be so hard to decipher, especially with social media, because it just spreads so rapidly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about how DIL is important, but let's get down to some specifics.
Okay.
What are, the skills that fall under the DIL umbrella?
Well, one of the things that I've learned about is something called lateral reading.
Okay.
And that's where you really verify the information and you're cross-referencing it with a lot of different sources.
So it's like getting a second opinion
Yes.
from a doctor, but you're doing it with online information.
Exactly.
I like that.
And that's really, really important.
Yeah. I also remember reading about reverse image searching and how that could be used to kind of suss out if an image is authentic or not, if it's been manipulated.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point.
And you can see where else that image may have popped up online.
Yep.
It's crazy how much misinformation can be debunked
It really is.
with just a few clicks,
Yeah, and DIL is really giving us all the tools to navigate the digital world more effectively.
Right. And it's not just about avoiding, scams or fake news.
Yeah.
It's about everything, right?
It is.
It's from online shopping to, understanding political issues.
It is. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's empowering yourself to make better decisions.
Well, and speaking of making good decisions,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about children
Oh, yeah.
who are growing up in this age, right?
Right.
They're practically digital natives.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we make sure that they're equipped to deal with all of this?
Well, I think the first thing to remember is that just because they're tech savvy, they're on their tablets, and they know how to use their phones, it doesn't mean that they know how to think critically about what they're being exposed to online.
Right. It's like giving them keys to a car without driver's ed.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a great analogy.
You've got to teach them the rules of the road.
Yeah, you do. And so I think parents and educators have a really big role to play here.
So it's not just about screen time limits
No.
and restricting, access to certain websites.
Mm.
It's about really engaging with them in their online experiences.
It is. It's about teaching them digital ethics and really helping them develop those healthy digital habits.
Okay, so what are some of the things parents can do?
Well, one of the things that's really important is to just adjust privacy settings on social media and any of the platforms that they're using,
Okay.
because this can really limit, their exposure to inappropriate content, but also help protect their personal information.
So it's like building that digital fence
Yes.
around their world online,
Yes, you're protecting them.
keeping them safe
Yeah,
from the things that are out there.
exactly.
And what else?
Content filtering and monitoring tools are also really good.
Okay.
And there are a lot of parental control apps that are out there that parents can use to restrict content that could be harmful.
But I also imagine it's really crucial to have conversations with your kids about all of this stuff,
Oh, for sure.
beyond just the technology part.
Yeah, for sure. And we need to teach them about digital ethics, which is really, how do you verify information before sharing it?
Right.
How do you engage respectfully with others online?
It's like the golden rule, but for the digital world.
Exactly.
All right.
And we've got to help them understand the consequences of their actions online, too, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Because there are consequences
Yeah.
in the real world for things that happen online.
Big time. So we have to prepare them.
Okay, so we've talked about communication, we've talked about ethics,
Mm-hmm.
but what about like practical skills?
So one of the biggest ones is teaching your kids how to figure out, is this credible or not?
Which seems super important now
Oh, it's so important.
with all the misinformation and disinformation.
Yes. So teach them how to look at, where did this information come from?
Right.
Is there bias here?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of evidence supports this?
So it's almost like, again, being that digital detective, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Looking for clues
Yeah.
to see if something's reliable.
Yeah. And it's great if you can make it fun for them.
Yeah.
Make it like a game or a challenge.
That's good.
Spot the red flags and the inconsistencies.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I also think one of the best ways to teach these skills is to model them yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Like show your kids
Yes, 100%.
how you're evaluating information.
Yeah.
How you protect your own privacy.
Yeah.
How you're engaging with others online.
That's huge.
Because, they watch everything we do.
Oh, they do. Big time.
And they learn from it.
100%.
So we have to walk the walk,
You do.
not just talk the talk.
Yeah, it's really important. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about all the challenges,
Yeah.
but, the digital world presents a ton of opportunities
Aren't too many.
for our kids as well.
It is, and I think it's important to really encourage your kids to use it for good. Explore their interests online,
Right.
Find people that have similar passions.
Mm-hmm.
Use it to create and innovate.
It's about that digital exploration.
It is.
Right.
It's,
And empowerment,
exactly.
not just focusing on, the risks.
Help them see that technology can do good. It can, change the world for the better, and they can be a part of that.
So, shifting the focus from fear to possibility.
Yes.
And restriction to empowerment.
Yes. Love it.
So, by helping our kids with their digital literacy, we're not just protecting them from the pitfalls.
Yeah.
We're equipping them to really thrive.
Yes, you are. You are. It's so important.
In this digital age that we live in.
Yes. And I think that's a good place to stop for today. We're going to come back after the break, and we're going to talk about tips for everyone.
Sounds good.
Not just parents, but adults, too.
Okay.
About how to become more savvy digital citizens.
Perfect. We'll be right back.
It really is amazing how kids just absorb everything. They're like sponges.
Yeah.
But just because they know how to use a tablet before they can even, tie their shoes, doesn't mean that they're ready to, deal with all the complexities of the information out there.
It's like giving them the keys to the car,
Yes.
but not teaching them the rules of the road.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why it's so important for parents to be really involved,
Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit.
Sure.
Like, what can parents actually do
Yeah.
to help their kids?
I think one of the best things you can do as a parent is just talk to your kids,
Okay.
Have really open and honest conversations about what's happening online.
So it's not just about setting rules and restrictions.
It's about really creating a dialogue. Ask your kids what they're seeing online.
Okay.
What interests them, what are the challenges they're running into.
Yeah, give them that space to ask questions.
Exactly. And you don't have to be the expert.
Right.
You just have to be there to support them and guide them through it.
Be that partner in their digital journey.
Exactly.
Like the enforcer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And teaching kids about digital ethics
is
huge.
Yeah.
Helping them to understand, what does it mean to have good etiquette online?
Right.
To be responsible when you're sharing things, to respect other people's privacy.
It's like the golden rule.
Yes.
For the digital world.
Yes, absolutely.
Treat others online as you would want to be treated.
Yes, and help them understand that what you do online can have consequences.
Yeah.
Real world consequences.
Right, like cyberbullying.
Yes, exactly.
Posting things that are inappropriate, sharing information without even thinking.
Yes, exactly. These are all big issues, and we need to help our kids navigate these responsibly.
Okay, so we've talked about communication, ethics.
Yeah.
Are there specific things that we can teach them skills-wise?
Yeah. So one of the biggest ones is like, how do you figure out if something is actually credible online?
Which is so important now
It is.
with all the misinformation and disinformation.
It's huge. And so teaching them, like, where did this information come from? Is this person biased?
Okay.
What kind of evidence do they have to back it up?
Again, it's like that digital detective work.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And, the more you can make it fun for them,
Right.
like a little game, like a challenge.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, spot the inconsistencies, the red flags, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then I think also modeling it yourself is a good
Sure.
thing to do.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Show your kids
Yeah.
how you are evaluating information,
Yeah.
how you protect your own privacy,
Yeah, for sure.
how you're interacting with others online,
Yeah, it's huge.
because they're always watching us.
They are. They
Yeah.
pick up on everything.
You really have to walk the walk,
You do.
not just talk the talk.
It's huge.
Right.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've talked about, like, the challenges,
Yeah.
but there's so much opportunity, too.
There is.
Right.
Punch.
And it's really important to encourage our kids
Yeah.
to use it.
Yeah, help for good.
Yeah. Help
Yeah.
them see how they can use technology to, explore their interests, to find other people that have the same passions, to create, to innovate.
So it's really about, like, digital exploration.
Yes.
And empowerment.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
And not just focusing on the risks.
Help them see the potential,
Yeah.
that they can change the world for the better
Mm.
using technology, and they can be part of that.
So shifting that focus from fear to possibility
Yes.
and restriction to empowerment.
Yes. I love that. Okay. So really just by helping our kids with their digital literacy,
Yeah.
we're not just protecting them from the pitfalls,
You're not.
but we're giving them the tools to really thrive
Yes, you are.
in this digital age
Absolutely.
that we live in.
It's so important.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about, how to raise digitally savvy kids,
Mm-hmm.
but let's be honest, sometimes we adults need a little DIL help too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
We do.
So what are, like, some things that we can do
Yeah.
to make sure our DIL skills are up to par?
One of the things that I think is so important is to just, like, pay attention.
Okay.
Be mindful of, like, what you're doing online.
Yeah.
Like, really pay attention to the sources that you're getting your information from.
Okay.
Be wary of, like, those clickbait headlines
Oh, yeah.
and the language. If it's really emotional, that's kind of a red flag.
Okay.
Just think critically.
Yeah. So it's like putting on these digital glasses, right? that help us see things a
Exactly.
little bit more clearly.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to question things.
Yeah.
Like, if something seems too good to be true,
Oh, yeah.
or it makes you really emotional, just pause for a minute
Okay.
and think about it.
So be a skeptic, but not a cynic.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Approach everything with a critical mind.
Okay. So be mindful, be skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Another thing is, we all have our, like, favorite news sources,
Right.
but I really think it's good to diversify,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So don't just go to one restaurant.
Exactly.
Get the whole buffet.
Get the buffet, exactly. Expose yourself to different viewpoints because, there's always more than one side to the story.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it really helps you develop a more, like, well-rounded understanding of everything.
Okay. So be mindful, be skeptical, diversify. Anything else?
Well, and, with technology, things are always changing so fast.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep up with all the new lingo.
Oh, for sure.
And the new, technology.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of resources out there. So
Okay.
don't be afraid to look for those.
Right.
Look for online tutorials, articles, even podcasts like this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information out there.
There is.
So be mindful, skeptical, diversify, use the resources.
Mhm.
What else?
Okay, so this is a simple one, but check your privacy settings.
Okay.
Because we often just click agree
Yeah.
without even thinking about it.
We've all been there.
But it's really important, take control of your data and really be mindful of who you're sharing it with.
So it's like, you got to lock your front door.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
You don't just leave it wide open.
You don't.
So be mindful about your digital footprint.
Yes. And, all of this
Yeah.
is really about being a responsible digital citizen, too.
So it's about,
Yeah.
not just protecting ourselves, but protecting everyone, right?
Yes.
Being respectful online.
Not spreading misinformation.
For sure.
Using technology ethically.
Yeah.
So it's about that collective responsibility,
Yeah.
not just, how do I protect myself?
Exactly.
We're all in this together.
We are.
Yeah.
And we're shaping the future of the internet together.
So I think, as we wrap up this deep dive into DIL,
Yeah,
it's not just about the skills, it's a mindset,
it is.
right?
Yeah.
It's about being curious
Yeah.
and critical and engaged
Yeah.
and realizing that the digital world's always changing.
Yeah,
So we had to be lifelong learners to keep up.
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the Deep Dive.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
And, listeners, I encourage you to embrace that inner digital detective.
Yes.
Question everything.
Be curious.
And never stop learning.
Yeah.
There are a lot of wonders and a lot of challenges in this digital world.
Mm-hmm.
But with the right tools and the right mindset,
Yeah.
I think we can all thrive. So until next time, stay curious.